Good afternoon. I would like to call the meeting of Assembly Committee on Revenue to order. Will the secretary take the roll?
Assembly members Considine.
Present.
De Silva.
Here.
Flanagan.
Here.
Gallant.
Here.
Goulding.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Hafen.
Here.
Wynn.
Here.
O'Neill.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Chair Backus.
And I'm present. It looks like we have everyone on our committee present today. And with that, I'd like to welcome those in the audience to Assembly Revenue as well as those attending remotely from Las Vegas. I'm glad our systems have improved since this morning. Thank you, AVH, for doing that, as well as those that may be watching online. If you do decide to provide public comment at the end of today's hearing, or any of our presenters, just please state your name clearly for the record. I always feel bad when I have to interrupt, but sometimes I'll let you know. Please state your name for the record. That is just to enable our secretary and our team to make sure that the minutes accurately reflect who is speaking. Also, you never have to go through the chair in revenue. Please feel free to go directly to our members if anyone's asking questions. And with that, we have one presentation on our agenda today. So I would ask our presenters from the Governor's Office of Economic Development to make their way to the table. And Director Burns and Deputy Director Stonebarger, welcome to the committee. And please begin when you are ready.
Thank you, Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for having us today. I noticed that Mr. Nakamoto's had to sit through this presentation twice this afternoon. There's a good chance he lost a bet. So anyway, I appreciate your patience, Mr. Nakamoto. I had the pleasure of doing this similar presentation 2 years ago. I had been on the job approximately 6 days when I came before this body the first time. And obviously, I've had the opportunity to learn a lot. I think the thing that I am most excited that I learned is the quality of people that I work with at GoEd. And their full desire to represent and serve the people of Nevada on a daily basis is pretty inspiring. And so I'd like to thank them publicly for all the work that they do. So with that, we will get started. I'm going to introduce Ms. Dorian Stonebarger, Deputy Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development.
Tom. Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Dorian Stonebarger, Deputy Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of background and an overview of the Office of GoEd. So we were created during the 2011 legislative session with a call to action to establish a cohesive economic development strategy and operating system to advance targeted industries, expand global engagement, catalyze innovation, and to increase opportunity for Nevadans through workforce development and education. Our mission is high-wage jobs for Nevadans, with a vision of an economy that is vibrant, innovative, and sustainable with opportunities for all Nevadans. Throughout Nevada's history, our business cycles have been a story of extremes. You can see where the GoEd office was established because recovery from the Great Recession was a long process. It required a lot of intentional efforts to diversify our economy. But you can also see that roughly a decade later, the speed of Nevada's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic showed us just how important such economic diversity really is. We not only recaptured those jobs, but we exceeded pre-pandemic levels. So how do we know where to focus our efforts on where to diversify? Well, we do an assessment of our economic landscape as well as conduct a thorough SWOT analysis. So our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we develop strategies and an action plan to provide policymakers, community leaders, and stakeholders with a roadmap for success. Our current 5-year strategic plan highlights our strengths and opportunity for an electric, innovative, and connected Nevada. We have also identified target sectors to help us reach those goals, which include natural resources and natural resource technologies, advanced manufacturing, hospitality, tourism, sports and creative industries, transportation and logistics, and information technology. At first blush, I think that you can see that there's a lot of different industries that fit within those sectors, but you can also see that there are different areas in our state that are better hosts for some of these sectors and vice versa. And that's one area where we work with 8 regional development authority partners who know their regions the best and can further identify those industry sectors within your communities that are the best fit. The tools that we have to accomplish this and to attract these industries, whether internally or externally, fall into 3 separate categories: business development, workforce development, and community development tools. Although we are most known for one particular tool, tax abatements, we do have a host of other tools that we're going to share with you today. But before we get into those, Tom is going to give you a good overview of the return on investment from those incentives.
Thank you, Tom Burns, for the record. At the beginning of my presentation, I'd like to discuss with you exactly what an abatement is and what's required to get it. So to be awarded an abatement, you have to have a weighted average that meets the state hourly wage. So in this case, state hourly wage is $32.51 for the state of Nevada. You have to have capital investments of either $1 million or $5 million. $1 million if you're in rural Nevada, anywhere but Clark or Washoe County, $5 million if you're in Clark or Washoe County. You have to pay 65% of your employees' health insurance. You have to have, at this point in time, you have to have 50% of your revenue come from outside the state of Nevada. You have to maintain your business in the state of Nevada for more than 5 years. Obviously, you have to register pursuant to Nevada law. And for companies of 50 or more employees, you have to provide paid family medical leave. Right? So, pardon me. For 13 of the last 24 months, the state of Nevada has been in the top 3 in job growth rates in the nation. For 5 of those months, Nevada was number 1. For the first 21 months of the 2-year period, Nevada outpaced the national growth. Wage growth is a key indicator of economic growth. It reflects the consumer's purchasing power in an economy and its living standards. Since GOAD's inception in 2011, the statewide hourly wage has grown from $19.93 to $32.51. When job demand increases, wages rise due to competition for workers. Sector growth also encourages investment, productivity, competition in a tight labor market. Long-term business success often leads to higher overall tax contributions to the option of the state to reinvest revenue in schools, public services, and community programs. Businesses that are successful in a specific location often expand operation, leading to more job opportunities for local residents. This reduces unemployment and boosts household incomes. Successful businesses generate revenue, which stimulate the local economy, lead to increased consumer spending, a stronger tax base, and more financial circulation within the community. Contract jobs have been conservative estimates. As of 2022, actual jobs from newly abated companies since 2012 exceeded the contracted jobs or actual jobs by 7,000. Years 2023 and 24 are still within the window of audit, and so those numbers haven't been firmed up yet. In the tree chart on the bottom right, you'll notice that 40% of the jobs created by incentivized companies are in the manufacturing sector. That's followed by logistics and operations, and then by information technologies. These are targeted sectors that are resilient and provide for high-paying jobs. Here's a timeline on how tax incentives have impacted Nevada over the years. In 2011, Nevada is leading the country in unemployment and foreclosure filings. In 2014, Nevada's unemployment rate is 5th highest in the country. 2017, Nevada's economic growth exceeded the national average. By 2018, Nevada is leading the country in private sector job growth. But during the 2020 pandemic, Nevada's unemployment rose to 30%, the highest unemployment rate recorded in the state ever. By 2022, Nevada had recovered all the jobs lost during the pandemic and had added 3,000 more jobs than the previous peak of 2020, in February of 2020. In December of 2023, Nevada's labor force grew to over 1.62 million people, an all-time high. In November of 2022, Nevada recovered all the jobs lost during COVID-19 pandemic and reached a new all-time high of 1.452 million jobs, 3,000 jobs more than the previous peak of February of 2020. Nevada was listed as ahead of the United States in total recovery jobs. Employment in the state saw a rapid and ongoing expansion, surpassing pre-recession levels in January of 2022, and having surpassed pre-recession employment in all major industry sectors at least once since January of 2023. As of August of 2024, Nevada employment numbers increased 3.2% from the prior year. Nationally, employment grew just 1.2% in the same period. Tax incentives can be a benefit to small businesses as well by reducing their financial burden, encouraging investment, and promoting growth. Tax incentives make it easier for small businesses to thrive, reinvest, and stay active. They also lower the amount of taxes that business owes, allowing the owners to reinvest savings into operations and hiring and expansion. Additionally, businesses often rely on local suppliers, contractors, and service providers, which help small businesses grow and thrive. This creates a network of economic support throughout the entire community. GoEd targeted support for small businesses of all kinds, wherever they're at in their journey. Small business certifications such as GoEd's ESB program help local Nevada businesses highlight their capability and set them apart from their competition. To do that, the program helps small businesses find work with state, local, and government agencies. Here's a few highlights. 109 ESBs were certified from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. And getting that certification helped those small businesses secure $20 million in governmental contracts. That's real money that helps local small businesses thrive. Since 2012, GoEd has run state small business credit initiative programs. The federally funded SSBCI provides funding to support small businesses and entrepreneurship in the state of Nevada. A few quick facts to highlight our progress. We deployed more than $13 million out of SSBCI, $8.3 million in venture capital. CDFIs have deployed $1.5 million in microloans, and $3.6 million was provided in collateral support. Nevada Apex helps small businesses cut through red tape and connect clients with local governmental opportunities through education, marketing, technical assistance, and much more. These opportunities mean a lot more to small businesses, especially from socioeconomic disadvantaged backgrounds, which Apex focuses on. From July to October of 2024, the Nevada Apex assisted small business in getting 318 contracts amounting to $48.6 million in work. Nevada Apex also helps women, minority, disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. Here's just a few of the successful clients. Big Fairy Tales LLC, DME Expo Logistics, Set Sail LLC, and Wise Business Plans. In short, GoEd offers many practical solutions to help small businesses grow. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dorian and to have her illustrate further success.
Thank you, Doreen Stonebarger, for the record. We want you walking away with a clear knowledge of what the return on investment is. And if you go back to slide 14 in your packets, there's a very important number there that we need to draw attention to, because abatements are considered investments, right? And the fiscal return on that investment is over $2.50 to every $1 abated. That is, yes, just below, it's in gray, fiscal return per abated dollar. It's $2.59 on average right now, and we do want you to remember that. But we also want to talk about the effects that our programs have on Nevadans and also on jobs. And so we're going to start with Stellar Snacks. Some of you might have enjoyed this on the plane on the way up here, right? This is a fantastic mother and daughter pretzel company founded here in Carson City. They had an expansion abatement in 2022, and they've been able to create 50 full-time jobs here locally. And just so excited. And I honestly, last presentation, I felt like I was maybe advertising them, a paid advertisement for them. So I'll set that to the side and just remind you that you can get it in the gift shop as well. So Redwood Materials is another example of job creation. They were abated in December of 2022. They had anticipated 150 jobs. They actually created 678 new jobs. They are located in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, and they are revolutionizing sustainability for lithium-ion batteries through recycle and reuse, which is that lithium loop that we often talk about. So that's 500 more jobs than they had anticipated bringing in. And then this is Justice. Justice graduated from Sierra Vista High School. She was the head of her robotics team in the 2017-2018 school year, and she took advantage of Tesla's manufacturing development scholarship program. Since then, she's been promoted 4 times and is now a process engineer technician 4 at Tesla, inspiring other students across the state, and that includes her brother, who also joined the program. So this is just illustrating the human side of what GoEd is able to empower directly or indirectly. On this next slide, I'm not going to read all of these to you. These are just other great examples that may not have made headlines. Oftentimes the larger companies do. But in summary, while our incentives are generating economic activity across the state, their impacts are beyond numbers, because jobs are not positions, they're people. And Tom is going to walk you through some of the many other tools that we have to incentivize companies and workforce for Nevadans.
Thank you. Again, Tom Burns for the record. GoEd's innovation-based economic development division is leading the way towards a more diverse, innovative economy that benefits all Nevadans. We have a multi-pronged approach. Our 5 core pillars include increasing research capacity, commercializing research, nurturing entrepreneurship, increasing access to capital, and building a technically skilled workforce. The Knowledge Fund is the only state program to foster Nevada's innovation economy. It was developed to propel research, development, and commercialization of products by Nevada's research institutions and universities. And since launching over a decade ago, the results have been extraordinary. At UNLV, Quantum Copper is developing products to create safer and more fire-resistant battery casings. The technology will play an important role as lithium batteries and EV cars become more widespread. DRI has conducted research at Lake Powell to study how evaporation and water loss impacts our reservoirs, a critical subject as we navigate an increasingly scarce water supply. The Nevada Center for Applied Research at the University of Nevada, Reno provided lab facilities where companies like American Battery Technology Company could develop. American Battery is helping advance the critical technology to garner resources for recycling of lithium-ion batteries. With that, we have a video we'd like to show you that hopefully works this time.
Now we have companies from California coming in and from all parts of the world and create new jobs which would otherwise have not come to Nevada.
We have 2 tech unicorns downstairs. That means started in Las Vegas. That are now billion-dollar tech companies. One in cybersecurity, one in fintech.
And all of that is being invested right here. It's being spent right here in Nevada.
The Knowledge Fund doesn't just create tech-based jobs that require a 4-year degree. For one new high-tech job, 5 additional jobs are ultimately created outside the tech sector.
These companies, when they come here, are 1 or 2 people strong. They grow to 60, 70, 80 people strong. And they're creating new jobs, they're creating wealth.
Companies will come, work with us, get the resources they need, grow, and then move on to their own facility.
The dollars that we put in turn into $3 in return, turn into $5 in return, turn into $10 in return.
We have helped these incoming companies generate more than $327 million in venture capital, all of which is being spent right here in Nevada.
The Knowledge Fund has shown a compelling return on investment. 37.4 million Knowledge Fund investments resulted in 7,900 direct and indirect jobs, nearly 46 million in state tax revenue paid into the general fund. So the Knowledge Fund is paying for itself.
We have the ability to drive industry and jobs here to Nevadans, create wealth and prosperity for Nevadans here right now.
Knowledge Fund projects save Nevadans' lives, be it through pedestrian or traffic safety, personalized medicine, or population health.
What this is really about is making resources available to the public for maximum benefit all around, for the community's benefit.
Knowledge Fund allows us to develop technologies to solve problems that our citizens are facing here in Nevada, whether it's groundwater or surface water or wildfires or any of that.
So the impact is fast, and the impact is felt by many, whether they're tools to predict water levels or whether they're tools to predict exposure to air quality or extreme heat. This is something that people can benefit from at a wide scale.
Knowledge Fund created Healthy Nevada Project DRI. That involves more than 50,000 people's lives.
With the Knowledge Fund and the money that goes into that, you will live a better life.
Now we're in a moment, though, where we really recognize, especially after COVID, how important it is to diversify this economy into a much more robust economy of tomorrow.
It has helped us link the legacy industries such as mining and the current and future industries in advanced batteries and critical materials.
So in 1864, we founded the Comstock Club. And we're at a precipice, we're at a time right now that is similar to that of 1864. And it's really important that we keep the jobs that are related to lithium here in Nevada.
The one innovation funding we have in this entire state budget is the Knowledge Fund, which other states and our neighbor cities like Phoenix and Salt Lake have demonstrated has a unique power to transform an entire economy into a much more robust, resilient one.
Through the Knowledge Fund, Nevada is a player in the global innovation-driven economy, and it attracts and grows technology-based companies in our state.
With the help of the Knowledge Fund, Nevada can continue generating high-paying jobs and attracting innovative firms to the state.
It is making us more recession-proof.
Solve problems, bring companies, and help in economic development.
It is up to us to design our future.
Thank you. I hope that gives you a little bit of a sense of excitement we feel about the Knowledge Fund and the potential it gives
So
to
now we
this.
have companies from California.
If you didn't like it the first time. And the potential that it really unlocks within the state of Nevada. The world of work moves quickly, and that's why GoEd's individual career mapping is so important. In 2024, we achieved a significant milestone by transitioning from Project Sandy to the groundbreaking ICM methodology. ICM leverages virtual reality and 3D digitality. That was written by somebody that didn't have to say it. Interactive STEM education materials to enhance high-demand career pathways in Nevada. In 2024, ICM published an international paper that gives us real credibility on our work. And if that wasn't enough, ICM also helped Elko County's Jackpot High School students get a 100% pass and earn their National Career Readiness Certificate. ICM is being integrated into Nevada's public libraries and workforce development centers, offering accessible labor market information and training boot camps developed by GoEd. We look forward to many more exciting partnerships in the coming years. In 2022, GoEd designed and created a talent retention program with a goal of retaining the brightest minds in Nevada's engineering and space sphere. Women and minority students from UNLV and UNR are placed with Nevada-based tech and startup companies in paid internships. Since the beginning of the program, several internships have led to job offers for recent graduates. Nurturing our young talent is a critical part of investing in our economy and something GoEd does extensively, and we'll discuss a little later. As we create more jobs and invest in innovation, GoEd is partnering with our colleges to create meaningful workforce programs. The WIN Fund is empowering Nevadans to level up and take control of their career paths in target industries. WIN is an incentive business development. Is an incentive to business development. It is employer-led, meaning that the WIN-funded programs are in response to employer demand for certain skill sets in the workforce. Over the last biennium, WIN has approved 17 programs and distributed $9.9 million. A few examples of those funds that translate into real-life skills are the Advanced Manufacturing Mobilization Grant that is addressing the need for high-tech, trained personnel in advanced manufacturing. After moving to the U.S. in 2017, a young man named Assad worked in jobs in casinos, restaurants, and construction companies. He eventually wanted a different career path, one that aligned more with his interests in automation and robotics. So he enrolled in the Advanced Manufacturing Program at TMCC, which receives WIN funding. The TMCC Welding Lab expansion support project is helping meet the growing needs for training in the welding sphere. For example, Heather Morton completed the Associate of Applied Science program in welding technology at TMCC. These in-demand skills will pay dividends to Heather as she navigates her future in this career path. In another field, the Accelerated Early College Machining program prepares students to work as machinists as they start their own companies. TMCC student Sarah Perez credits the program for giving her new skills that will open doors for her as she advances along her career journey. So why is this important? Advanced manufacturing is one of GoEd's target industries. Upskilling our future workforce through WIN-funded programs gives Nevadans more opportunities. At the College of Southern Nevada, student Simon Noriega enrolled in the Manufacturing Skills program, which received WIN funding. It helped him learn the technical English and improve his prior skills in electronics and hydraulics. Not long after his graduation, Simon was hired as a maintenance mechanic for the high roller wheel on the Las Vegas Strip. And thanks to his new skills and work ethic, Simon was promoted to lead the maintenance area for the high roller. He now runs a 14-person maintenance crew. The advanced manufacturing track of the expanding training pathways program at Western Nevada Community College is preparing students to serve in key roles in the battery recycling industry thanks to the WIN support and partnership with Redwood Materials. As of December of 2024, 76 students participated in this program. Of those, at least 20 have secured employment in the industry. Why is this program so important? As a key part of Nevada's lithium loop, Nevada recycling will continue to play a big role in Nevada's future. So speaking of target industries, in 2024, funding from GoEd's WIN program helped launch the Great Basin College NORCAT Mine Skills Training Facility in Elko. This state-of-the-art facility will deliver essential skills and safety training for Nevadans in the mining industry, also one of our target industries. You'll see that the student in training there may look familiar to you. He was not very well trained. He should probably stay in the job he has. It's a guy talking right now. These are just a few of the examples to how our WIN funds is supporting our workforce in Nevada's target industries. GoEd's Rural Economic and Community Development Division works hard to make our communities vibrant and prosperous. This important work includes the Nevada Main Street Program and Community Development Block Grant. These programs are critical to the vitality of our communities, both rural and urban. Nevada Main Street began in 2017. And there are 24 participating Main Street organizations that represent 29 communities. Main Street Fund goes towards the unique community projects from historic preservation to arts and culture. CBDG is administered by the Department of Housing and Urban Development through the state of Nevada. CBDG funds are allocated to cities with populations under 50,000 and counties under 200,000, while larger cities receive their grants on their own. Millions have gone into community projects since Nevada's CBDG launched over 4 decades ago. For example, Jackson Street Alliance is a collaboration with the City of Las Vegas and Nevada Main Street, is restoring the charm and culture and significance of the historic West Side. Utilizing funding from Nevada Main Street and others, Jackson Street Alliance will be placing a modular unit on a currently vacant lot steeped in Las Vegas history. The work empowers residents to grow through education and support. It also attracts investment and fosters economic growth. With just 220 people, Goldfield, Nevada lacked a way to share its positive community news and information about the town's colorful residents, history, and culture. With Main Street funds, the community launched the Goldfield Gazette, its monthly publication with a positive community news and information. The Gazette also provides advertising and job listings for local businesses. You can't have economic development without having community development, which is why the Community Block Grant funds are spent on infrastructure in the rural communities. In Nevada, CBDG secures the funding on behalf of rural communities which might not have the bandwidth to get it on their own. For example, CBDG contributed $1 million in COVID funding for the construction of the Silver Sage Senior Center in Wells, Nevada, which opened in January. Senior centers play an important role to the lives of our loved ones and nurture the sense of community that is so important to Nevadans as a whole. We're proud to help bring this project to life. $150,000 went to transform a vacant motel in Wells, Nevada, into a retail center for entrepreneurs. The Buckaroo Boutique owner, Thesha, now has a brick and mortar store thanks to the work of CBDG. GOED wants to make Nevada a leader in healthcare as well. Whether it's building world-class facilities or educating the next generation of healthcare professionals, we do this by focusing on three particular areas: training and education for healthcare professionals, healthcare innovation and access, and infrastructure development for sustainable growth and job creation. Let me give you a couple highlights of this program in action. GOED worked closely with the leadership of the College of Southern Nevada to launch an innovative nursing pilot program. So far, the program has educated and credentialed over 100 practicing clinical nurses. This program helps widen the gap of nursing educators and will spread throughout the state's nursing education infrastructure. The many testimonials we receive reflect the power of the education that life transforms. At the new transplant center in Las Vegas, USC's Keck Medical Center has helped over 40 Nevadas schedule their organ transplants. GOED provided essential guidance to USC, assisting in the issues like workforce, logistics, building, imaging, and much more. At this point, this project is limited to pre- and post-op treatment. Currently, the transplants themselves take place at USC, but we're working towards partnerships with local medical professionals to have those transplants actually happen in Las Vegas. GOED also continues to support the principles of Intermountain Health, which is creating Nevada's first standalone children's hospital. This is an effort to fortify comprehensive care for children in Nevada and greatly reduce the strain on families. The four women who run the Nevada Film Office are incredibly passionate about bringing film to the state of Nevada. That's the understatement of this entire presentation. The NFL markets the state as a production destination for film, television, commercials, and other forms of media. All of this generates economic impact through job creation and in-state production spending. That's why the NFO offers transferable tax incentives to try to attract productions to Nevada. The office facilitates connections with local crews, vendors, and services. It also identifies film locations, assists with permitting processes, and coordinates the intergovernmental cooperation throughout the state of Nevada. In addition to film and shows, the NFO has brought in thousands of jobs for local casts and crews thanks to the online industry directory. The directory is the top resource tool used by the industry professionals and their crews planning productions throughout our state. It includes everything from producers to equipment rentals, and time and again it's proved to be an indispensable hub for local businesses and talent. Here's a great example. Las Vegas native Lily Capsi has used NFO's online production directory with great success. And thanks to the directory, Lily has done work for Netflix shows, a Super Bowl commercial, and much more. And for those of you that are film lovers, here's some recent NFO-assisted productions filmed in Las Vegas. And if you haven't heard, the Oscar-nominated Nora film was filmed in Las Vegas with support of our dedicated team from NFO. We want to position Nevada as a leader for small business, and that's why we help the leadership. That's because with the help of the leadership of Speaker Yeager, Nevada has become the first state to create the Office of Entrepreneurship. We are forging a new path and helping entrepreneurs along the way. In 2024, the Office of Entrepreneurship conducted dozens of statewide community consultations with more than 300 small business stakeholders to learn more about the needs of the individual entrepreneur communities and small businesses. Cardi, which is an early stage company that has received support from GOED and one of our regional development authorities, is a great example of that success. Catherine Brasso a former United States Marine major and Nevada resident, has founded the tactical women's clothing company, Cadre. With support of GOED and Sheldon Mudd of the Northeastern Nevada Regional Development Authority, Catherine is now scaling up operations to outfit entire teams, a huge step forward in her company, and we are so privileged to be part of its growth. Another early stage company that has received has received support from GOED is called Sleek. UNAR graduates Austin Bauer and Brennan Jordan founded the software operating system Sleek to help users cut down on excessive cell phone use. Sleek benefited from G-Beta, part of Generator's accelerator program supported by GOED. Sleek is also a partner in the GOED designed talent retention program we spoke of earlier in the presentation. Further evidence that we're doing what it takes to support entrepreneurs at the ground level. In closing, I would like to underscore the recurring theme of our presentation today. Beyond our direct business support, GOED tax incentives have an immense impact on small business. Just look at local food entrepreneur Marissa Todd, who sold coffee and pastries to workers during the construction of Tesla's Gigafactory. Using this experience as a jumping off point, Marissa and her business partner Travis eventually opened up Handcraft Coffee on Wells Avenue in Reno. The pair are now opening up their third location in northern Nevada and in the northern Nevada community. This is a perfect example of why we support innovation-based economy. For each high-tech job we create, 5 non-tech jobs are created. And finally, this is a picture of the GOED team that I'm so proud of, and fellow Nevadans supporting fellow Nevadans. So with that, I'll say thank you.
So much, Director Burns and Deputy Director Stonebarger, for your guys' presentation. Very informative, detailed, a lot of exciting stuff going on. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. And I believe I have a question from Assembly Member Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you again for this amazing presentation. I just very, very excited about this topic, so I'm very blessed that Speaker and Chair Backus welcomed me back to the committee. This is a passion of mine to truly talk about small business and what the backbone of our state is truly the small business. And so I was very excited to see in one of your slides that you talk about the small business success with 109, I believe, emerging small business that graduated from your program. I'm kind of curious, how do you select these small businesses? How do they know about the programs that you have, and what were the criteria for being a part of this program? Because I would love to learn more about it.
Thank you, Assembly Member Tom Burns, for the record. Small business. All small businesses throughout the state are eligible for the program. It's administered in conjunction with the same folks that do our Apex program. It's available on our website, so sometimes that's a cop-out, to be honest with you. We have worked in conjunction with local chambers of commerce to make it more readily available, and the presence more publicly known than what it has been in the past. And I think the increase in numbers is evidence of that, but we're happy to work with you on other ways to get it outward to your folks.
So just wanted to be clear on this. So if you mentioned also in the slides towards the end, the Office of Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Is this a program under that new legislation that was created, or this is something separate?
Tom Burns, for the record. Again, it's something separate, but they obviously they work akin to each other. So again, Apex Accelerator, which is the agency that helps small and medium-sized businesses learn to do business with state, local, and federal governments, administers that program, but it runs hand in hand with the Entrepreneurial Office.
I mean, I'm excited. So yeah, I would love to get more information about
Absolutely.
how this program is and all the demographics within, like, where are the industry that it came from within those 109, and perhaps there may be some gaps that we could help make the program be more accessible to all Nevadans.
We would enjoy that as well, sir.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair.
I actually had a follow-up, and then I'll go to one of our other colleagues. With respect to, just because you were talking about the Nevada Apex Accelerator, and I was trying to wrap my mind around kind of just a definition of what that is, because I did see that cutting through the red tape, a lot of success there. And when I think of cutting through red tape, I start to think of assisting those small businesses with localities, with licensing. I just wanted to dive into that a little deeper as to exactly kind of what the Nevada Apex Accelerator is doing for the small businesses.
Thank you, Chair. Tom Burns for the record. So the Office of Entrepreneurship, candidly, would probably be a better resource for accessing and trying to figure out what the proper licenses to be as we move forward. Apex Accelerator is, as you can imagine, if you a lot of people that are in small business are there because they have a specific vocation, specific tool. I use this because it's the simplest illustration I can get. But somebody told you make the best cake that they've ever had, and you ought to make a living baking cakes. Well, when you start to bake cakes for a living, what you find out that only 10% of what you do is baking cakes, right? And it's all the other things. And learning from somebody that is a great small business person and knows how to bake a great cake, but learning to crack the code and get to the inside and doing business with the government can be a pretty daunting task, right? So understanding the right door to walk into or the right application to fill out, or who do I talk to, who buys cakes within the federal government, how do I get them to them? Those are kinds of things that Apex is really good at doing.
Thank you for that clarity, because that makes sense, because I saw there was the 318 contracts. I assume that's with the federal government and kind of opening those doors. With that, I'll go to Assemblymember Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Slide 15, I'm having trouble understanding that one. So the return on the investment, the return per abated dollar in the north was 217, and then in the south was 455. Yet there was a whole lot more money invested in the north. I'm just trying to make sense of that. Were there more abatements or?
Sorry, we have
Yeah, that's fine.
different points. There we go.
So when you look at the return, so there's more invested in the north, quite a bit more, but the return on the investment is less than half of what it was in the south.
I have an idea. I'm speculating, so because I don't have data in front of me. So we have a lot more data center abatements in Northern Nevada, and while I think having a ballast to those is good in your investment portfolio, as we look at it that way, they tend to be very steady, but the return maybe isn't quite as high as some of the other that have. Data centers as a whole don't employ a lot of people. They tend to employ somewhere between a data center to be a dozen to 2 dozen people, whereas advanced manufacturing is going to have more folks, and it tends to have a higher return.
So, but I would agree with that, except when you look at the net new tax revenues, the net new tax revenues in the north blow away the net tax revenues in the south. So I can't see that making sense, that explanation making any sense. And you can get back to me. That's fine. It just leaves me scratching my head. So, and actually my numbers are different on my slides. Mine says 255.3 in the south. It says, 16, I have my glasses on. 15. All right, there we go. I was looking at 15. I accidentally hit slide. 15. So, yeah. We can, we don't have to have an answer today. I'm just wondering.
Mr. Assembly, Tom Burns for the record, we will get back to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And can I ask one final question? So when companies don't meet the threshold of 5 years, or some of the other ones, they dip below the 65% of the medical care, what happens to those companies? Is there a way to recoup that?
Tom Burns for the record, Assemblymember Gray. Yes, we do audits at 2 and 5 years, and for those that fall below the thresholds that are established, we claw back. And we've recovered in every instance but one. About 10 years ago, there was a smaller company that declared BK, and we were not successful in getting our money back from them, but everybody else, we've been successful in retrieving our money back.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll go to Silva.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director Burns and Assistant Director Stonebarg. It's always good to see you here, and this is a very informative presentation. My question was about the abated companies and the sort of like education levels that are related to them. Is there any data kept on if these are now companies or industries or jobs that we're attracting that are also connected to a college degree, a trade certification, certain types of high skill licensure programs? Just to know if there's data kept on the sort of like educational levels of the folks that we're bringing in.
Sure. Assemblyman De Silva, Tom Burns for the record. Can I get a clarifying question? Are you addressing the needs of, I'm assuming we're addressing the needs of the employer that we've drawn in versus maybe what they produce or some other?
Yes, what they're drawing in.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I am not aware of that data as it's kept anywhere. It's something we can get. I can tell you anecdotally, because of who we're drawing in, they tend to need skills-based training, right? So you saw that in the examples that we used for the folks at Tesla, for the gentleman that worked on the high roller, those kinds of skills that they were able to attain. One of the things I think that we do that's the most important thing we do within GoEd relates to the Wind Fund, because it really takes people who, from a socioeconomic standpoint, might be at a lower position in their life, and we give them the opportunity to gain skills to oftentimes double or triple their income, and really raises the standard of their family and their position where they're at in the community.
Committee members, does anyone else have any questions? I actually have a couple questions, and I wanted to look at slide 10 to kind of walk through the questions. I know we see like in the data is basically the highest for unemployment at 5.7%. And just looking back at the slide of employment growth rate, and I do commend, obviously, you guys are working really hard and trying to kind of boil down what could be the factors that we're seeing. And so obviously we had COVID, but then going over the last couple years, really it looks like in November of 2023, we start kind of seeing the employment growth rate start to shift and decline downwards to a steep decline a year later in September of 2024. And then now we're looking, since like I guess only like a month period, November to December, as being really flatlined at employment growth rates. And I think it's no surprise, I've said multiple times, I'm a small business owner, and some of the stuff we're seeing, like before, I would say probably 2 years ago, we couldn't get employees. Like we really struggled with the employment sector in hiring skilled labor. But more recently, we're seeing wages increasing rapidly. And so I just I can't help but think, is it a situation where we're having fewer people employed at higher wages? Maybe small businesses are cutting back. Do you guys have a sense of why we're kind of getting stagnant in employment growth in our state, but it seems like our state population is growing?
Chair Tom Burns for the record. In speaking with economists, and economists is as much art as it is science, right? We have a couple of things. One, there was the last 2 quarters of 2024, a lot of businesses were stagnant in what they were doing in general. And I think that was a lot about trying to see what the outcome of the election was, and not so much who was going to win, but what the answer was going to be. I think regardless of what was going to happen, things were going to move forward once people knew the answer as to what the landscape would be ahead of them. And so I think you'll see that there's a flattening out. Well, it's less dramatic on the national side as it is in our side. And a lot of our things lag because of, so if your things were going to start to pick up, I think you would see them sometime in the second quarter of this year. So I think that's a lot of it. I also think there might be just, I'm not an economist, but I think that we've seen signs of just a flattening of the economy overall right now.
In doing this, and I know there's a lot of stuff that you guys have to keep confidential with potential companies that you're recruiting to the state of Nevada. Have you seen a decline in the interest of businesses thinking about relocating to the state of Nevada?
And Tom Burns, for the record, we did see that decline in the third and fourth quarter of 2024. We have seen an uptick in the last 60 days.
Thank you for that. And then the other question I had is, of those companies that go ahead, and this is obviously before your time, when incentives were given out to kind of pick us up out of the recession, 2007-ish time period. I think a lot of this was done in 2015. Of those companies that have now exhausted all of their incentives, have you seen with those companies whether they're looking to leave the state of Nevada, or if there's a pullback in the number of people they're employing, or more of a negative impact versus no, things are still going as the status quo?
Tom Burns, for the record. Actually, anecdotally, if you looked at Tesla, which is probably the biggest brand name we took on earlier, and their abatements have come largely to an end. They doubled down just 2 years ago, right, and expanded in their manufacturing facility in Trick. We have a number of other companies that are out there that are more than willing and excited to expand. There are some challenges from getting people to and from work right now, and so they're waiting on some of the solutions for that. But there are certainly a number of companies that are looking to expand. I cannot think of it, and I'm certain there's one out there that I've missed, but I cannot think of somebody that has pulled back or left the state of Nevada once their incentives have moved out. Once you've moved to a location, you're kind of anchored there. It's expensive to pick up and move, and not that people can or won't ever, but if you have productive assets in a locale, you want to keep those moving as long as you can, and that's why it's so important to, when companies are up and ready to move, it's important to land them so they can be here for the long run.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go back to Assemblyman De Silva, and then if anyone else has a question, just kind of wait.
Thank you, Chair. I had a quick question about the 1864 fund and Startup NV. Are those funds and programs that are associated with it, or is that a different state apparatus? 1864 fund and Startup NV.
Stephen Wood, for the record, Assembly member. I'm not familiar with 1864. I am familiar with Startup NV. Those are, I'm not sure if they're nonprofits, but they're independent organizations that do work closely with our IBED division and doing that business development in that startup space. So we work with them, but they're not part of GoEd.
And then I had just one last fall. Oh, do you want to go ahead? I'll take Assembly Member Gallant.
Thank you, Chair. And I'm glad you asked a question about the slide 10 with our jobs dropping off. I'm wondering if you guys have looked into maybe some correlation, because it was in July of 2024, the minimum wage went up to 12, and you can see actually right there, July of 2024, it just falls. And maybe that might have some correlation with some of our businesses struggling.
Tom Burns, we have not, but it would be worth looking into. So
I appreciate that.
Yep,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much. And then anyone else? I have one last question. I'm really excited. I know on page 47, you all touched on the supporting the creation of Nevada's first standalone children's hospital. and I can't help but think, I know you also oversee OWIN, where we obviously need to increase the growth of our healthcare providers, and it's something my constituents always complain about, obviously not enough providers. So in my heart, I'm like, if we build it, will they come? So do you know on the forefront what we're looking at in recruiting specialty physicians to Southern Nevada with respect to children's medical needs, as well as all those other healthcare providers that we're going to need more nursing staff, social workers, all sorts of good stuff we're going to need for that children's hospital?
Thank you for the question, Tom Burns, for the record. I think there are a couple things coming up that will be at your discretion, to be honest with you. So one of them will be in the Health and Human Services bill, where there'll be a request for expanding GME funding throughout the state of Nevada. Because most of you know that we produce a fair number of doctors in our state for the size state we are. We just don't have any place for them to do their residencies. So my college roommate grew up down the street from me in Las Vegas. We went to UNR together. He went to medical school at UNR. He went to his residency in Dallas. Anybody want to guess where he lives? Yeah, Dallas. And that's a pretty consistent story. That happens a lot. And so with the increase of the residencies in Southern Nevada, I think there's greater opportunity for us to keep them, and especially in the areas of specialty. One of the other things you'll be seeing actually from us, the governor acknowledged that we'll be part of his legislation as he moves forward, and those bills have not yet dropped, which is part of the reason they're not part of our presentation today. But one of the things we'll be talking about is import substitution. Its easiest illustration comes from a company that does business with Tesla out of the Midwest. They produce a part that Tesla needs. 60% of their sales goes to Tesla. I shared with you earlier that if you do more, in order to qualify for our current abatements, you have to have more than 50% of your sales outside the state. So they'd like to move across the street from Tesla because that makes shipping easier and they can roll them across the street, right? But if they can't receive any incentives from the state of Nevada because 60% of their sales would then be in the state of Nevada. And so what we've essentially told them is that we'd like them to keep those 125 well-paying jobs in the Midwest, right, instead of bringing them to Nevada. And so one of the things we'd like to introduce is import substitution. It's important to know that we have to show that there's a need in the supply chain as we would recruit those companies. So we're not just going to recruit companies so they could do more sales in Nevada and take Nevada businesses out of business. We're talking about places where we currently have to import into the supply chain to make that work. So part of that conversation flows naturally into specialty healthcare, right? So by all accounts, with our friends that build acute care hospitals, the number of beds in northern and southern Nevada have kind of stabilized and are in a pretty good spot. And I think we have good doctors in Nevada, but I think to your point, Chair, is that we don't have enough of them, right? And it's specifically where we don't and we struggle is in the specialty care area. So this bill would allow us to attract and incentivize specialty care to southern and northern Nevada, and just healthcare in general, both acute and specialty care to rural Nevada. So hopefully we can participate in that. I think we identify a great example is the Lou Ruvo Clinic down south. Being able to attract practices like that to bring centers of excellence would do a lot, not only from us economically. Right now we export a lot of our healthcare out of the state to when we need that kind of care. But I think it also helps the self-esteem of our citizens, knowing they feel better about where they live.
So much, I appreciate that. Did you want to go ahead and add?
If I may, Chair, Doreen Stonebarger, for the record, I just want to identify that if we change the definition for the import substitution in healthcare that Tom just mentioned, that will actually open up our workforce dollars to be able to be used towards those two occupations as well. And that will help with your question.
Thank you for that. And I think this is the last opportunity. I don't think I have any of my members that have any other questions for GoEd. And so I appreciate you for your time. I'm not sure if we'll see you soon or down the road, but thank you for coming and being with us this evening. And with that, I'll go ahead and close the presentation and move on to our last item on the agenda, which is public comment. For ease, I'll go ahead and start in Las Vegas, and I just believe those are two individuals from, one person maybe from GoEd and someone else outside. so there's probably no one there to give public comment. Anyone here in Carson City wishing to give public comment this evening?
Hi, for the record, Austin Daly with the University of Nevada, Reno. Thank you, Chair and members of the Assembly Committee on Revenue and to GoEd for their presentation today. The University of Nevada, Reno works closely with the Governor's Office of Economic Development on various programs and initiatives to expand talent and innovation in Nevada. For example, GoEd has played a key role in the university's application and designation as a tech hub by the U.S. Economic Development Administration, specifically in lithium batteries and electric vehicle materials. Additionally, the Knowledge Fund, based in GoEd, provides funding to expand applied research and innovation in key areas of growth for the state. This funding is important for our students and faculty in research endeavors and to grow Nevada's workforce plus economy. We look forward to continuing to work with GoEd in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go to the phone lines. AVH, do we have anyone on the phone lines wishing to give public comment this evening?
Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no callers to provide public comment at this time.
Great. With that, I'll go ahead and close the meeting.